Hello and welcome back to As For Me in My House. I'm Jordan.
I'm Milena.
And on today's Thoughts and Prayers, we're going to talk a little bit about how do we do less. God bless. And honey, tell us about where this idea came from.
Well, we kind of touched on it in our last episode of simplifying your life. That overall, if you simplify your life, it will drastically become a lot easier to spend time with the Lord. And if you're curious about this conversation and you didn't tune into last episode, head back over there because we really dive into that. But we wanted to give you guys very practical 10 tips that you can start doing today. And so Thoughts and Prayers, the whole point of it is for it to be more of a shorter episode, something that you can just chew on real quick, listen to when you're driving somewhere fast or whatever. But
Or slow.
wherever you're driving to. So we have 10 little tips that you guys can start implementing today.
Yeah, and I think too, to just piggyback on what you're saying, we can't control so much in our lives, and think of all that's fighting for our attention and all the distractions. Some things are good that require our attention, like obviously work, your family, things like that. But I think what I'm learning in my 27 years is like I need to reprioritize things constantly.
Yes.
It's a lot of just shuffling around. Okay, I can't worry about this right now. I need to be here with my family, or my wife needs my full attention right now. And it's not so much to say those other things don't matter and only this matters, but I think having some sort of a structure to the way that we go about prioritizing our lives is key. And so, yeah, I've started decluttering, if you will, things in my life.
Praise the Lord, you guys.
After Milena's been on mute by the Lord for years.
Prayers answered here. Altar call, because it's been a minute of this.
Hallelujah. But yes, so I've noticed already just the Lord pruning me in ways.
Isn't it so nice? I can put away your laundry now.
We could see my closet.
Yeah.
My, tiny little one cubic foot of closet.
But it's so much easier to put away his laundry. It's crazy because something that would have taken me like 30 minutes now takes me not even 5 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, that's just one example, but so many, and I have so much to go still, but at any rate.
Last thing I just want to say is I feel like this year should be the year that we become really picky about what we say yes and no to. And we'll kind of dive into those. But as I've just lived, I've just noticed that you can say yes to everything. And the only one who's going to see the negative effects of that will be you. And so just become really picky, figure out what is a priority to you. And I feel like for the most of us, like our family is mainly the priority for us. Yeah. And so if there are things that we're filling up our life with and our daily task list with things that are pulling and taking time away from the family, it's time to say no. So, all right, let's just dive in. So, number one, we're going to kind of like bounce off each other. But to simplify, to do less, God bless. A great place to start is to eliminate habitual maintenance things. Ladies, this one is more towards you because it's so easy for us to add thing after thing after thing after thing of maintenance things. And it wasn't until this year that I started to eliminate things that I realized how much time I have now. Like even just eliminating my nails. I remember like that was taking up, that would take, even though I went like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever, like they always looked nasty towards the end. It was still like 2 hours that I would spend there, and money and hair and
probably more like 4 hours.
4 hours. No, not 4 hours. No.
If you're getting a full
yes. Yeah, it can. Yeah.
Redip.
And doing the hair and fake eyelash and getting your eyebrows done. And
it wasn't often, but it would be a lot of time when it was.
Yes. Yeah. So maybe eliminate maybe one of those things. Just one. Yeah.
I mean, things that are obviously you have to do. I think it's good to have a maintenance schedule. And speaking as a guy, obviously you can't not put the trash out. You can't not clean.
Well, I was talking more like physical maintenance.
I know, but you're we're both coming at this from two different angles here.
Okay, we're both speaking here. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, you eliminate some things, but there's other things that obviously are going to always exist. Right. And so now the key is how do I, structure that time. So yeah, that's good. Next one would be wardrobe simplifying or building out like a capsule wardrobe. I remember Jordan Peterson was on a podcast, and I thought it was very interesting conversation. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he's a pretty well known. It'll come to me. But anyways, he asks Jordan, like, why is it that men dress up, or like, why should you wear a suit or things like that, And Jordan Peterson basically said that there was, this idea back in, say, the 60s and 70s, you would often find men wearing like 3-piece suits on airplanes and traveling, or like there was something not so much about like, oh, this says so much about my image, or this is where I find my identity. It was almost more so just more commonplace to assume there was some level of like, you look like a man. Whereas Jordan said, nowadays you have adults that look like overgrown 10-year-olds. Like they're wearing sweats and like a dirty, like Mark Zuckerberg, or, take like these billionaire people, they're wearing like raggedy clothes. And not that, I'm not saying like they need to dress up or like dress how much money they make, but it's just an interesting phenomenon where you think, okay, well, maybe I don't want to have to make a bunch of decisions out of all the millions of decisions I have to make in a day. Maybe like not having to pick out like this shirt to match this top, as a guy, especially, you're just like, I don't really care. But there is something to be said about like, okay, I'm putting in some level of thought in simplifying things, so that way I don't really have to sort through or waste a bunch of time like finding something that's buried, or so there's something to be said about like dressing in a way and understanding your like, it doesn't, I'm not doing this to find identity in it, but I'm actually doing this because there's a level of like being presentable that I think really helps when you're talking about simplifying your life. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. Just something as easy as clearing out clothes and maybe finding stuff at thrift stores or discounted that you can replace a bunch of other stuff that you were like, oh, this is all hype, or like hype. I'm not a hype beast, but like there's also, something to be said about, I just have less, and that's in a way more,
Okay, number 3, number of things that you purchase in a month. Try to make it less and simplify that. There are so many times where I feel like there are so many impulse buys that we do, whether you're at the Target pickup, like Target checkout line, or you're on Amazon and you're buying one thing, but then you scroll down and the suggestions they have are very spot on, or your Instagram ads are very spot on. I found for me, if I like write down the things that I like need, so like let's say the kids need pants and I need a new shoe that broke, or like something that needs to be replaced, I'll like write that down, and that's what I get. And like, I know that may sound so simple, but how many times do we go to Target to get 3 things and we walk out of there with $200? Like Jordan jokes that you can't leave Target unless you spend $200.
That's what Dave Ramsey said. It's like, they don't look at your receipt at Costco to make sure you didn't steal anything. It's to make sure you spend enough money so they can let you out of the store
before you can leave.
Yeah.
So writing down that stuff is really helpful for me too. I think making like Target pickup orders also super helpful, or Instacart orders, because I'm buying exactly what I need and I'm not necessarily like tempted,
or like walking around just like
else.
Oh yeah, let me go down this aisle, and then before you know it, you got 5 more things in your cart that you weren't gonna get earlier.
I wanted a diffuser. Oh, maybe I should, and then like you just end up overspending.
And then what do I always do? Babe, the raspberries were buy 5 get 2 free.
Yeah.
And I just come back like only raspberries
Jordan's
under my arms.
A sucker for those.
Yeah, like a crate, like a pallet full. And she's like, no, we don't need 6 raspberry packages, So things like that I've been trying to be more disciplined in.
Yeah, so impulse buys. Simplify those.
Number 4 is when, looking at Christmas and birthday gifts, things like that, and this is something that Milena I thought was brilliant she did this past Christmas with the kids, is instead of like spending a ton of money on wrapping paper and a ton of time on wrapping and taping everything, and while there's something certainly to be said about the time and effort and the labor of love to make something look very, aesthetic, I think there's nothing wrong with that. And it's not that we'll never do that ever again.
Right.
But it was kind of refreshing and nice to kind of take a break from that and just get this giant like knit knapsack and put all the kids' toys in there. And they would just reach out and grab one. It wasn't wrapped. It would just kind of be sitting loosely in there. So they grab one and like, oh, cool. There's still like a surprise element because they're reaching in like, I don't know what's in here.
Yeah.
Then they pull it out and then they get to play with it. And then they pull out the next one. And so what saved us out literally hours and a lot of time and money, because wrapping paper's actually surprisingly expensive. And so
it's so time consuming.
it helped us like save time and money and still get that surprise joy. And it's more like, okay, it's not all about what's wrapped. It's the present inside. Right. And so I feel like there's more theologically I can go there, but for sake of time, I won't. Okay. But yeah, that was something big too when you're talking about doing less around Christmas and birthdays.
Number 5, drum roll, please. I'm so used to saying drum roll because that's like what we do in homeschool every single day.
The kids love it.
Like,
One
it's
time,
drum roll.
Alethia's like, Dad, hurry. My legs hurt. I'm like, you don't have to like smack. You're not, abusing yourself.
Number 5, halfway there. Hand make gifts. This is a really easy way to simplify your life and show a different level of love and gifting to other people, because it's really easy to go into a store and just buy anything. I mean, literally anyone can do that. But can anyone like take the time to think of like, what can I make that this person will really enjoy? And you don't have to know how to like knit a whole sweater. Like you can make handmade granola or sourdough or like.
Love me some granola. No, but there's something about it when you like take a known recipe and you make it on your own. Like, what was it?
So annoying.
No, I mean, like, you make pizza at home, it slaps. You make, what are those from Taco Bell?
You can make like this cute, like.
What are the things? The Crunchwrap Supremes? Bro, have you ever had a homemade Crunchwrap Supreme? It's unreal.
I hope people aren't
It's
mad. That.
otherworldly.
Okay, listen. It's not like I'm going to give you just granola.
You don't even wrap it because we just said we're not wrapping anything. You just, here's a handful of granola. Just present them.
No, I feel like a DIY. Like
I made you some granola. I broke it up myself. Saved a lot of money, a little bit of time, but actually it was probably cost. It was more time.
Oh my gosh!
Could you imagine someone's face like they just get a tub of granola like?
Okay,
Am I punked right now?
I didn't get to finish.
Sorry.
Like it would be like a whole kit, like a pizza kit where you bring them like dough and like a whole thing they could make.
Just plain granola.
Or like
That's the only
a cookie kit where you have like all the different sprinkles, or if you have kids, give them like a sensory bin. Like making your own little thing that you can give to someone.
Oh, that was great. Yes.
Whew.
So that takes care of granola as a handmade gift. If you're looking for a gift idea for that special someone, make your own granola. All right, should I move on?
Yeah.
Was that it?
Whew.
Was there anything else?
Okay, I haven't had a laugh like that in a minute. Go ahead.
Next one, number 6. There's a wonderful little book that my mom gifted us when we were dating, I think still, or maybe we just got engaged. It's called $10 Great Dates. And it's a little bit dated now. See what I did there? It's a little bit dated, but I would wager to say that most of those are probably like $20 Great Dates in 2023. So I will find the book and like link it down in the comments on Amazon. But it's super cool because a lot of them.
Wait, what are we simplifying here?
Well, I'm just saying instead of like having to spend like hundreds of dollars, because one of our biggest complaints is like when we go out for date night, we're talking just like a little bit better than normal dinner, right? Mm-hmm. And with babysitting, with the cost of the dinner, really with the expensive tip, with sometimes parking is like depending on where you're going, like there's so much adds up. So this date night, it's supposed to be like a nice, like relaxing, stress-free evening, ends up being like
real stressful.
Something like, oh man, are we gonna like make our budget here for date night? And it's like it shouldn't be that way. So this book we've referenced and like kind of gone back to it a lot, and a lot of times it's things that are just very meaningful and intentional, and it doesn't really cost a lot of money. but can be super fun and kind of novel, I guess would be the word. So I will link that book below. And I'm just telling you now, it's probably not $10 anymore. It's probably, like that 20 to maybe even 30-ish. But still, it's a win in our book. I know everyone's situation is different, but relatively speaking, simplifying your date night and having some resources that can help you like be creative with all that is a win.
I remember when we were still dating, I gave Jordan a jar of
granola.
Stop. I gave Jordan a jar of date night ideas. I like put them on like little
popsicle sticks.
Yeah, and it was like some were free, like a foot massage or like
no, they were color coded, so there was green, purple, and blue. And the blue ones were like the really like, oh, these are a special event. Like, this is really special. I remember one of them being like, the blue was like a foot massage. It was like, this is a rare one, you know? It's like only 3 blue was in there. But
I think it was categorized by like price too.
Yeah.
Because I remember one of them was like go skydiving together.
Yeah. That
so
was
like
blue.
We would pick in the jar. But that's another, see, that is a good homemade gift that you could give someone. Okay. It's not just the granola.
Give it to them on the side with the granola.
Okay, number 7. This is one that I think has really transformed our life, marriage, like every aspect, and that is to do weekly family meetings.
100%.
This is so key. This is what we do during date night, and as our kids get older, this will be something that we try to do either like on Sundays or Monday mornings, something. We'll definitely start including the kids as they get a little bit older. Not to say that we don't now, but like we give them the rundown of like what the week will look like. But Jordan and I are the ones that are mainly extensively sitting down and taking a look at both of our schedules. But this makes sure that we're on the same sheet of music. Jordan loves that phrase. And then
Milena
also, no, I've been using it a lot. And then we also, that gives you a chance to see where all of your family's time is going to. If you have several kids and all of them are doing multiple sports, like I can only imagine how much time you're spending in the car. And it's like, okay, is this bringing you a great deal of joy or a great deal of stress? Are you spending a lot of money on this thing that really your kids don't even enjoy? Could you supplement that with something else? And so I feel like just looking at a week of a glance of seeing what the entire family is doing will give you an opportunity to just that in itself truly look back and be like, wow, we have a lot going on. And this was something that Jordan and I had to do a couple months back. Like we were having so many different Bible studies and having to go here and play date here and this and that. And we're like, it's not enjoyable for us right now. And in this season with littles, like doing less truly is such a blessing. And simplifying makes everyone's life so much easier and routines easier and yada, yada, yada. That as soon as we did eliminate and really be picky about what we said yes and no to, that like drastically changed our weeks. And we even noticed it in our kids. Like it just, everyone was in a happier mood.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 8, learn new recipes.
We got to start rapid firing these.
Now, when you think of, simplifying, you're like, Jordan, no, that's new. That's more. Let me explain. When you learn new recipes, you might not even like to cook or like be that good in the kitchen.
Learn how to make granola.
When you find that like perfect granola recipe, I'm telling you, it's life-changing. No, there's something to be said about like, I love to cook. Like I enjoy the process of like seeing ingredients laid out and then putting together in like a good tasting and like relatively healthy meal. But not a lot of people like that. And so if you challenge yourself to learn something new, you're going to probably see like a net benefit of that, such as, oh, I can make a batch of this and then have it throughout the week. And maybe you're not a leftover person, but like if you make a good food or you look up even recipes that are specifically like taste good the next day, like
there's a lot of those.
You can find some pretty good stuff, and that's a savings on money. That's a savings on time. Like you're not having to think of, I need to go out here
several meals
or wait. Maybe you live in a very like dense area or city, and you're like, now I don't have to like go wait in line at my lunch break and then like rush and hurry up. You can just sit and enjoy. But yeah, just like learning new recipes or even doing it with your spouse or with your kids, that helps you to cultivate that more quality time where you're see that time as a blessing. I know Milena's really big on including the kids and like chopping stuff with their like little zigzag chopper thing or like their safety knives, you know.
They're way more likely to eat a meal if they help me prepare it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I've gotten the kids to eat mushroom, zucchini, artichoke. I've gotten them to eat so many things that they normally would not eat just because they help me prepare it. Okay, drum roll, please. Number 9, family walks / family dinners, family events daily. This, if you get anything out of this podcast, I said, video podcast, let it be this, because this is so huge to come together as a family and do something together. I know that everyone's schedules are different, that there's so much going on, but when you do something together, whether that's eat breakfast together every day or have dinner together or go on a family walk after dinner or walk the dogs together or do a puzzle every day or a board game or read a book.
Nature walk.
Yeah. Yes, there's so many little things, even if it's 10, 15 minutes that you can do together as a family, that's so unifying. And it gives everyone a chance to take a pause. And to me, my family ate dinner together every single night. And that's like such a core memory for me. And so something that I remember doing that I want to do for our family and we have been doing. And it's such a blessing. And I don't know how we would function without that.
Think of how much of Jesus's ministry took place around a table of food. I mean, that's obviously very cultural too, but so much of conversation and bonding and that deeper level of human interaction takes place oftentimes around a dinner table with a meal. And like Milena said, that's something she's carried her whole life. And so, that's huge. And lastly, seek community, preferably locally and preferably ×2 at your church. The more you can be, like we always say this, and we'll continue to say it, we cannot gainsay enough how thankful we are for the Ask For Me in My House family, because it's worldwide and you guys are all over the place and we're all united in Christ as our common link here. But we cannot encourage you enough to find community in your local church. And you say, well, I don't have a church around me that's good, or I'm afraid, or for this, that, or the other. Like, pray about it. Just say, Lord, I know you want me to be part of your body, serving and putting my gifts to work in some capacity. Help me find out where and when that is, and he will lead you, because if you're in Christ, you have a valuable, you're an asset, and you have great value for the kingdom that you can offer. And so a lot of times when that's, maybe you're running with the wrong crowd, or maybe you have, things you want to change in your life, start going to the right place to find the right people. And not saying everyone at church is perfect or the right people, because obviously that's not true. But my point is, maybe going to church is a better bet than the bar or the nightclub when you're talking about how do I do less and really cultivate that quality friendship and quality relationship over quantity. Milena and I both had friends back in our younger days where we're like, this is kind of toxic and this isn't fruitful. And so you kind of cut ties, and then you find people who are genuinely building you up and genuinely want to rejoice with you in good times and weep with you in sorrowful times. And that, I have probably 3 or 4 core brothers in the Lord that I can go to with anything. I don't need 100 of them. I just need a couple, And that's our prayer, is that you would seek that community locally and in your local church to be able to be built up and blessed by that.
All right. Well, do less, God bless. This is supposed to be a short episode, but it'll be a little bit longer, but I hope you guys enjoyed it.
We had some laughs. We had some,
some good old tears.
Good. But let us know in the comments some things that you're doing to simplify and make more space for the Lord to work in your lives, because we'd love to hear about that. And that's all I got.
Same. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.